What's up, guys? You know who it is. It's Blade Master, the king of Total War, coming at you peasants once again, you plebeians. Okay, sorry. With 3v3 in Total War Rome 2. This is fought in Garama. That's not a preset map, it's just something that I picked. That actually turns out to be a really interesting sand dune map. You can see the camels here. Yep, just running away from the battle. Don't want to get caught in the arrow crossfire. So, the three factions that me and my allies have chosen, I've taken Baktria, and I'm fighting with a Roman cohort and a Spartan line. Now, with Baktria, I've not taken a single infantry unit. I'm going to play as a support, support player in this match, just like I do in almost every 2v2 or 3v3 in Rome 2 that I find myself these days. I really love doing this aspect of 2v2s and 3v3s is really cool to me. I have huge weaknesses, so I'm going to have to rely on my allies to protect me. So it encourages teamwork both on my side and my allies' side if we don't want to lose this game. So my Roman ally, I told him not to bring any skirmish troops, and I told him not to bring any cavalry. So what I've done is I've kept a paltry couple of horse archers here, and a couple of shock cav for my Spartan ally. But since the Spartans are so strong in defending terrain, I'm just going to leave them as is most of the time. And what I'm going to do is with my Roman ally, I'm just going to overpower one flank and crush one opponent, and well, preferably the Carthage opponent, and then use that to roll over and then systematically destroy the rest of the rest of the armies. So with Baktria, I've brought 5 Persian archers, and I've interspersed them with a couple of Eastern slingers. I brought a couple of Baktrian noble horse and 3 Baktrian royal cavalry, including a Baktrian royal cav gen, and a total of 4 mercenary Scythian horse archers, 2 on the extreme right flank and 2 in the center, who are taking shots at the legionary cavalry. Haven't gotten any kills yet, but they are on heavy shots, so they will be able to do a lot of damage. I've also got an Indian armored elephant, of course. My Roman ally has brought a front line of 4 Triarii, and he has got mostly Avocadi, it looks like. 4 Avocadi and 6 Avocadi and a couple of Praetorians. Now, I didn't say, well, I purposely said, if you guys want to bring any artillery, go ahead and bring it. Artillery is not a big threat. I don't think so. It's very easy to dismantle artillery, and they do some damage, but it's not something to be really too afraid about, unless they spam artillery, which is, I trust the players not to do that. Now the Carthage, well, actually, let me go over the Spartan build. Sparta has brought a couple of Cretan archers, if I recall correctly, 3 Cretan archers to be exact, and a front line of 6 Spartan pikemen, and he's got a couple of Spartan hoplites behind them, heroes of Sparta general, and a couple more Spartan hoplites on his flanks, and 2 citizen cavalry and 1 Tarentine cavalry. Now, while this build might seem terrible, it's actually perfect for the purposes or for my ulterior motives, in that this pike line can hold out very strong against most armies. Again, he's fighting up against Tylis, which means that this is not the same case as most armies. But let's see. As for the Roman opponent, since I'm going after them the first, it looks like he's brought 3 legionary cavalry, whom he's popped attacking or cavalry testudo on, which is a smart move. And he's brought a Legatus general, of course. He's brought 3 auxiliary Syrian archers up here and 3 auxiliary Balearic slingers. Now what I'm going to do is, since he's moved up his archers so much quicker than his slingers, I'm going to use all of my skirmishers and just unleash a deadly archer and slingshot volley on these auxiliary Syrian archers. And as tanky as they are, as strong as the auxiliary Syrians are, there's no way they'll be able to match up to so much concentrated fire, and they die very, very, very quickly. So the other units, he's brought 3 Praetorian Guard and 1 Eagle cohort, and another Praetorian Guard that's just trudging along really far behind the rest of the army. Still taking more and more shots with my Persian light archers and my Eastern slingers against auxiliary Syrian archers. He's making a big mistake moving these guys behind and then showing their backs to my huge, very, very strong skirmish line. Carthage is a massive weak point in this battle. He's brought a front line of 6 Carthaginian hoplites, and this is smart. I mean, he's kept them on top of a hill, so it's going to be very defensive, very hard for me to break through. But that's the problem. And the strength is also a huge weakness, in that I can just focus completely on the Roman opponent as long as his Carthage ally is not, helping out. He's also brought 5 Libyan javelin men. As for Tylis, he's brought 6 tribal warriors and 3 Celtic slingers. The Celtic slingers are taking some shots against my mercenary Scythian horse archers. He's also brought 1 spear warrior, 1 Celtic tribesman, and 3 noble horse with 2 raiding horsemen. So, I mean, you might be guessing that most of these players are pretty new to the game, and I would agree. I haven't asked them if they're very experienced or if they're just fucking around, but the builds definitely look like they're not very experienced. Here, the Avocadi cohorts, they were in Testudo. That doesn't increase bracing, it's not like Attila. And the legionary cavalry get a decent charge on them, but they are just so incredibly tanky that the legionary cavalry really is not going to do much. Now my opponent, the Roman opponent, has very wisely used attacking Testudo on his men, but I'm firing into their unshielded side. I purposely moved around my archers, and they're firing into their non-shielded side, which makes them just as vulnerable to missiles as they would be if they didn't have attacking Testudo. Actually, even more vulnerable, because they're so densely packed that it's going to be very easy for me to get lots of shots in. Charging in with mercenary Scythian horse archers, destroyed a couple of auxiliary Balearic slingers, and then pulling away, just harassing the main line so that his slingers and archers won't fire into my skirmish line while they're busy whittling down this Praetorian guard. You can see how quickly these guys are dropping, especially due to the slingers having a lower arc. I believe the slingers will probably be able to cause a lot more damage than my archers. 27 kills with slingers, yeah, that just goes to show. Also kept a couple of archers here, getting better angles on his cavalry, destroyed all the cavalry from my opponent. Meanwhile, the Tylis army is not really doing much. They don't really want to get into the front of these pikes. Even though the pikes are not in hoplite phalanx, or sorry, not in pike phalanx, there's no guaranteeing that the pikes will just drop right when they're about to attack. Now, meanwhile, I charged in with my mercenary Scythian horse archers. I utilized this mountain, which completely hid my troops. And sure, they're tired, but they can get downhill charges on Libyan javelin men. So how many is this? 34 kills. They're getting slaughtered by Libyan javelin men, these mercenary Scythian horse archers, because those javelins are of course very deadly to those lightly armored troops. But just harassing them, getting the Carthage player off of his defensive position on top of the hill. Now the Roman opponent is just so completely fucked. He's taking so many casualties from my archers on both sides, and then he has to fight up against Praetorian or Avocadi cohorts who are basically full strength. My Eastern slingers already getting a single experience share round, so have my Persian light archers, and this one is just about ready to get one as well. Eastern slingers here all across the field doing very, very well. Now here I'm charging in with Baktrian Royal Cavalry. The Carthage opponent brought 3 auxiliary elephants. Not to worry though. I've got so many archers that it's going to be impossible for them to make any sort of impact in this game. Charging in with Baktrian Royal Horse here, Baktrian Royal Cavalry, so have I with my Gen. He's taken a lot of casualties because Baktrian Royal Cavalry have piss poor armor and very poor melee defense too, so they'll get destroyed by javelins very easily. Here, charging into the rear of Praetorian Guard with my Baktrian Royal Cavalry. This is, places where they will absolutely excel. Not that they really needed to even do that, because my skirmish line were just about ready to destroy the rest of these Praetorian Guard. Pulling back with my Baktrian Royal Cavalry Gen. Now the Carthage player decided to quit because I guess things weren't going according to plan. And that means the AI is actually going to do a better job than a human for an instance, because it's just going to charge in and help support this battle. That said, it's leaving, it means that, actually no, the AI is doing a very decent job. The late Carthaginian hoplites are charging into my Baktrian Royal Noble Horse while I was trying to destroy Syrian archers. Now, the huge problem with AI, with elephants, is that it's going to be very easy for them to run amok, and then once they run amok, the AI will just issue attack orders, or issue the kill elephants order, which means they'll be basically useless, which is good for me. It's not like they really had much of a choice here. On the extreme flank, the noble horse are killing off some of the Carthage or the Spartan cavalry, but these heroes of Sparta will do so well even against 100 rear charges from Noble Horse, they will excel. 50 kills with them, destroying a lot of cavalry. So again, like I predicted, no real reason for me to help out. But I did use my elephants, I moved my elephants through this gap, huge gap that was presented. And now I am ready to rear charge these guys. The Cretan archers have gotten 96 and 112 kills. And these ones have done pretty well too. So I'm just ready to charge into the rear of these tribal warriors. I asked my Spartan ally to charge in with his pikes so that I would have an anvil so that to hammer upon. But he just, I guess he didn't want to listen to me. So he doesn't do that. He just stays still with his pikes, which is kind of a problem. As you can see, these elephants about ready to crash into these tribal warriors. The tribal warriors are free to countercharge. They lose a javelin volley, making these elephants run amok. And then the Baktrian, or sorry, the Noble Horse General he gets a rear charge on elephants, which might sound like a decent idea on paper, but against our Indian armored elephants, you don't want your cavalry to go anywhere near them. Tribal warriors charging into the front of Spartan pikemen, the tribal warriors will die. And now I'm rear charging with Baktrian Royal Cavalry onto the enemy Tylis General. And actually they're not running amok anymore. They were on Stampede, which means that they are going to be... this would have been really shitty if my elephants had run amok, because then they would have just charged into the front of these spikes and I would have... That would have been game over for those elephants. But thankfully they're not, and that means they're just going to crush these tribal warriors into the ground. It's... no, I wanted to... not these guys. I didn't want to focus on my general. I wanted to focus on the elephants. Let's get it into elephant cam, you guys. Puny little Celtic slinger is just about getting destroyed by elephants, and now they are going to rear charge some juicy tribal warriors. They are super tired though, which is not great, but I mean, these tribal warriors are stuck between a rock and the worst place. Not just the hard place, it's a hard place with spiky 6-foot long sarissas attached to them. Baktrian Noble Horse destroying the remnants of the Tylis General. And of course my Roman ally had no problems killing off the rest of the Roman troops. And now mercenary Scythian horse archers just destroying the last few late Carthaginian hoplites, taking fire from all angles. And yep, this game is just about done. I'm sure it wasn't against the most skilled opponents, but you know, playing and casting some of these games is pretty fun, because you can easily see what went wrong, and you can see tactics that won't work against more skilled opponents. Persian light archers and slingers all across the table getting huge numbers of kills on heavily armored Roman infantry. Praetorian Guard getting 38, 28, 2 and 42 kills, which is really, really poor. Syrian archers not doing anything. Auxiliary ballistic slingers not doing anything. And Scythian horse archers could have done better. One of my Baktrian Royal Cavalry did well, and my Indian armored elephants, of course, just destroyed the entire tribal warrior line. You can see these are very low numbers for tribal warriors. Let's see how well the Spartan pikemen did. Did okay, did pretty decently, I mean, considering they were fighting up against tribal warriors. Heroes of Sparta and Spartan hoplites doing very well, because the noble horse very graciously charged into them. And Zyko, my Roman ally, had no problems destroying the Romans and then the Carthaginians as well. They just cannot withstand Avocardi at full strength, especially when the Praetorian Guards have been completely destroyed by slingers before even entering into combat. Anyways guys, that's the end of this battle. Hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more. Peace.